Hey guys, how's it going? Today we've got some perennial planting to do. We've got 3 different varieties that like quite a lot of sun. And then we've got more flower bed maintenance to do. More perennial cutback, more raking, just some grooming, things like that. And I wanted to start in this location because you can see the gorgeous Russian sage on either side of this grass pathway. And those are established, like they're several years old at this point. And we're gonna be planting more of those today. This is called Denim and Lace Russian Sage, and it's definitely my favorite variety of Russian sage. It stays much more compact and kind of dense than a lot of other varieties of Russian sage, and you can see that right here. You can see it's like almost ground to top color, so I don't really feel the need to come in and plant other things right in front of it to kind of mask the bottom. Sometimes I feel like I need to do that with other plants. And these grow about 2.5 feet tall, maybe a couple inches taller than that if they really love it. And they can spread upwards of 3 feet. I've got, how many do I have in this spot? 4? 5. 5 of them. And they're kind of intermixed with some firelight tidbit and a bunch of coneflowers. Look at how gorgeous all these coneflowers are. It's just a menagerie of variety here. Got some of the butter pecans over there. Boy. Thought I had some envies in here. Here's a double, like a random double. I don't know what variety that is, but you really can't beat that combination for color and interest, especially this time of year. Like toward the end of July, dog days of summer, these plants just thrive in the heat and in drier conditions, and you gotta love that. Sun is shining on this side, but you can see all the coneflower interest there. And then you can see here on the other side, we did a few little annuals in here, but I might repeat coneflowers after those are done because I think that's such a gorgeous look. And we've also got firelight tidbit hydrangeas, which are now just starting to come into bloom. They've been in bloom, I guess, for a little while, but not fully. And then we've got some Tuscan Sun heliopsis. So I think that's a really pretty combination. And it looks like the sanitary service is on its way. I gotta get out of the way. I parked my gator right in their path to get to our dumpster. This spot's actually nicer anyway, a little bit more shade. But the Russian sage is a zone 4 through 9, and they just can take pretty much whatever you throw at them in terms of crummy soil. They actually prefer that. No fertilization, full sun, drought conditions. Maybe I should wait till he's done. Anyway, the other varieties we have here, this is the one in a melon echinacea, which we do have in a couple other spots out in our garden. I'm actually going to be planting this alongside 1 or 2 that are on the back side of the south garden where I lost some others, so I need to fill in. So these right here, 24 to 26 inches tall. Can't remember the spread. 18 to 20 inch spread, zone 4 through 8. And you can see this gorgeous color. It looks really good alongside the purple. In fact, these are going to be planted near other Russian sage that I have planted out in the flower bed already. The other perennial we have here is a hardy geranium called Perfect Storm. We planted 3 along the west side, right over here. Maybe we can pop over and take a look. They're right here, 1, 2, 3. They're looking happy right here. In this spot, they don't get quite as much sun. Hardy geraniums, although the tag says full sun to part shade, they can handle quite a lot of shade. In fact, I've got other hardy geraniums right in here. If I turn around, there's more hardy geraniums right there. This particular variety grows about 1 foot tall and spreads out 20 inches. They're hardy down to zone 5 and they bloom throughout the summer. But hardy geraniums are such a vast family of perennial. There are so many different varieties, some that stay very short to the ground, very much so a ground cover, to geraniums that get almost shrub sized, like the ones we cut back a few days ago. But that group of plants as a whole, they're just phenomenal. Most of them are very winter hardy. Most of them will provide you color throughout the season, plus a fall color show. Some of them are a semi-evergreen, so they stay nice through the winter. I just think they're an amazing group of plants. I love them because of their versatility and also because of their light adaptability. You know, being able to go from a full sun spot to a more shaded spot and still thrive. They may not be as bloom productive in a shadier spot. Sometimes I don't even care about that. I just want a nice leaf canopy, and the occasional bloom is fine. And in the sun, of course, a lot more blooms. You're gonna go do some work, or you want me to go do my work?
You can do your work while I do my work.
Okay, she said I could go do my work while she does her work. Sounds good to me. You can find some weeds, babe, and pull them. Here we go. Gosh, things are looking pretty good, you guys, right now for July. Look at this annual bed right here. Oh, I think I showed it to you recently because I'm just so enamored with it. Just loving it so much. Also loving this. Oh, it's so pretty. In fact, you know what? No, okay, gotta keep going. Okay, so this is where the 1 in a melon echinacea are going, and you can see that I do have 2 that survived in kind of this grouping. And the echinacea are usually pretty tough for us. I don't know what happened here. It may have been a water malfunction, one way or the other. I don't know. So sometimes we just have to fill things back in, and that's okay. But I love the blend here. We've got some Miss Violet Buddleia and sort of this big mass, which I think is so pretty. There are 6 of them, I think, in this space. I have 2 more in the high tunnel. I thought about like kind of finishing this off. I don't know. Either way, I want to pop the 3 echinacea just right in here. Maybe I'll do 2 and then 1 right here. We've also got betony, which has just gone out of bloom, so those are going to need to be trimmed back. But my goodness, when they're in bloom, you guys, they are the most bumblebee attracting perennials I have out in the garden. I mean, it's almost a given every single time we come out here when they're at peak that there's going to be a bumblebee on them. And then to the right here, we've got the Kufia. This is the frosted violet Kufia along with a Super Tunia Mini Vista white, and I think that's a beautiful combination. Just highly recommend these Kufia. There's a few of the newer annuals that I am just enamored with. And the Kufia are one of them, the Vivid Violet, the Frosted Violet, and then also any of the James Britannia. If you can get your hands on those for either a container or specifically actually in the ground, they're awesome. We also planted a Weigela that's a reblooming Weigela that had some water issues in the beginning. Anyway, we got it rectified. It's fine. It's just a little crispy this year. We're gonna have to let that be pretty next year, but all the new growth looks really nice and fresh. But I sort of want to start at the beginning of this bed and walk down just to show you how things are looking. Little mini tour. Because look at this space. I'm just so thrilled. The Superbena Violet Ice is amazing. We've got some of the Gara Petite Pink, which you can see is a much more dense grower than the Piketty Pink that we just looked at along the lane. We planted the seedling Agastaki in here not that long ago, and they're already beefing up big time. We've got some Ringo Double Pink Roses, which look healthy this year. I put them in as bare root, and they had a struggle for the first year or 2, and I guess you could even count this year as that too. But they've got the prettiest pink flowers, and there's like 16 of them in here. And I'm hoping that they all kind of rebound and create this nice big pink drift. More Agastaki seedlings went in there. We've got our Weeping White Spruce looking gorgeous, backed by some Flame Willows. We've got some Eryngium, both the white glitter and blue glitter. We've got some Siberian Iris, and all the Siberian Iris we just recently planted behind Hebe. These are the Double Play Dolly, I think, Spirea. They kind of add a brightness right here. And then there's the Denim and Lace Russian Sage, backed by Vanessa Bell Roses. Those are a David Austin. These we dug out from where that little triangle shaped garden was on our driveway by the pond, where that big arbor used to be. And they're all doing great. We've got some, I think these are Midnight Velvet, Sedum. We've got some Fall in Love Sweet Anemones, and that kind of brings us back to where we're at. Also, while we're in this space, right across the grass pathway, there's more Denim and Lace Russian Sage, and we've got the, boy, what is it called? We'll put Sunglow something, I don't know, we'll put the name up on the screen. It's a new annual for next year. It's a type of primrose. Got some weeds growing in it, hang on. Actually, I don't think these are weeds. I think these are Kufia that seeded themselves from last year. But anyway, I've been enjoying this annual so much. We've got some of the white salvia, unplugged white, so white, that we planted in here last year. They came back. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them that came back. Oh, now that is a weed right there. But we planted some of the Maestro Coral Agastaki, both in the ground back here and in the pot. And in the pot, you guys, it died, I think. Yeah, I don't know what happened, but it's pretty much gone. It doesn't matter though. We've got some of that De Delta Silver River right here. You can see the blooms. Those are the spent blooms. And there's also some Super Bells in there. So we'll just have to give that one some time and see what happens. But anyway, I suppose we should get to work. So 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, that's perfect. All right, there they are, all tucked in. Now, I did err on putting them a little bit further forward because these buddleias will probably continue to get a little bit bigger, and these are annuals, so these will go away. I think those are just so beautiful, the color in here. Oh, and this rose, maybe we can find one. Just recently got deadheaded, but it's called State of Grace. There's one. They're kind of an apricot pink, and then they fade out to kind of more of a smoky color. They're so beautiful, and they look good next to these echinacea. Okay, let's move on to the next. Okay, we're here on the other side of the loop. We were just right on that side, and I'd like to incorporate some of the Russian sage over here. I would like to maybe pop in, you know, one in here, maybe one in here, possibly one right in here. This area has just kind of become a little bit neglected. I did plant some of our agastache in here that are beautiful. Midnight Masquerade Penstemon is doing beautifully. In fact, it was initially just a drift kind of tucked back, and it seeded itself and created new plants up front. So we could dig and move these around. Maybe we'll do that later on. And we've also got one of the great big geraniums I didn't plant here. This one seeded itself. And I mean, some of them just get super huge. And this one's got some powdery mildew, which is strange. So we're gonna cut that back. But I'd like to tuck in some around here. We've got some cottontail yarrow that's kind of petered out. My other drift, which is way over there, it looks awesome and full. So I don't know what it is about this area. Maybe it's a water thing. Maybe the Russian sage will do better. We've also got some Just Joey roses, a chatalpa. I think it would just be nice to amp up this space. We're keeping this open because we want an opening to go into whatever we end up, you know, having built in this center area or installing in here. We're just not sure yet, but keeping this open. But we need something more here. So we're not using any starter fertilizer with the Russian sage because they don't need it. Usually, like a perennial problem with Russian sage is that they flop over, and they only do that usually because of a couple of reasons. One, over-fertilization. Either they're getting too much fertilizer or they're in too fertile a soil. Where?
Spider!
Where's the spider? Oh, I see it. I got it.
What kind of spider is it?
Just a garden spider. No big deal. It's over there now. Or they're in too wet a soil, they need to be in fairly dry soil, or they're not getting enough light. So I guess 3 reasons. Nice. Okay, let's pack it in. Got to do it like you mean business, babe. Yep, manhandle that thing. All right, let's do the last one. Oop. Okay, let's tip it up right and pack it in. Okie dokie, we're all done right here. We're gonna move down the flower bed a little bit. All right, these look really good, I think. Until they get a little bit bigger, you won't really see them, but I think that having them here, they're gonna just amp up this space so much. So we've got one tucked behind this rose and iris. These are all volunteer petunias. I had Supertunia Mini Vista Plum Veined in here last year, and I've got a menagerie of different colors of pink in here this year that I didn't ever plant. And then we've got one right back in here, which I will be sort of trimming this crabapple up at some point. Not quite yet, because I want to enjoy those crab apples down here this fall, but I'll get to it. And then one right in here. So that'll just provide this block of purple that I think will be gorgeous. And of course the anise hyssop gets like this tall. So we'll have a nice, you know, back layer. Aren't those Rudbeckia beautiful over there? The ones I thought were annuals and they come back every year. Turns out they're perennial, I love it. And then we've got our grouping of 5 right here, our little drift, which they're already gorgeous. They add so much to this space. Okay, now we just need to tuck in our geraniums. And these have a very cool pink bloom. It's like a cool pink / purple. So I want to make sure it goes in where it's not going to fight with any warm pink. I was eyeballing this spot, but I've got some Supertunias in here already. But I wonder if I could maybe start my drift over here and kind of work around the Supertunias. Or this might be better. We might just pull this Tradescantia because I don't like this. I'm not a huge fan of Tradescantia. It always looks ratty and kind of messy. So I think maybe we'll pull that and we'll pop them in right here. I think that'd be beautiful. We've got some White Swan Echinacea, which I think I need to pop maybe like 3 more in this space. They do seed themselves though, so I could just let it go and see what happens. But I think that would be a really pretty look because in the same vicinity, we've got this really beautiful Echinacea. Look at this, kind of creamy. We've got Caryopteris Beyond Midnight. We've got the pink Coralberry. That's the Proudberry is the variety. We've also got the Double Ringo Rose, Purple Salvia, and then some pinkish daylilies. I didn't even plant this Tradescantia here. It just showed up. So I should probably go get a shovel. Yeah, that's just gonna break off at the ground. I don't know. I'll just take my auger after the roots and just tear them up a little bit. Okay, well that went well overall. I got all 7, I think there's 7, yeah, 7 of them in this space. I did have to scoop my Supertunia. I had one random. This is the Supertunia Blue Veined, I think. And it showed up in one of our Supertunia Vista bubblegum flats. So I just popped it out here randomly. So I just scooted it out of the way so I could pop this geranium in and everything should be fine. I'll just keep my eye on it. And got the other ones in here, demolished the Tradescantia root ball, the whole area. Like I dug the whole area out with the auger, so hopefully I didn't just create a massive problem. They do tend to spread pretty quickly by roots, but I'm hoping I broke them up into such little pieces and pulverized it so much that they don't have enough energy maybe to create new plants. I don't know. And then just pop the rest of them in. And so a couple of them or 3 of them are small because I cut them back, but I think these are going to be beautiful right here. And a foot tall will be perfect for the edge of the border. And they're also back far enough to where I hope they won't grow over the grass. And that is it for our planting projects this morning. So now we're gonna head closer to the house. We've got one flower bed I really wanna focus on and clean out. It's got a bunch of Columbine in it that are looking really tired. So we're up here in the Persephone garden. And if I swing this way, you can see the flower bed that needs to be taken care of. So we've got this whole area full of Columbine. And it came out with the first beautiful flush of bloom. This is actually its 2nd flush of foliage, and it does have some blooms on it and buds. They're beautiful, kind of this sweet, clear yellow color, but you can see that a lot of them are really just looking tired, and they're all kind of beat down from wind and things like that. So anyway, I think I just would like to cut everything back in here, rake it up, and probably groom up the hosta a little bit. This is what happens to our hostas about this time of year. Like this one's pretty darn protected. It's right underneath the birch tree, at least protected from the sun and probably a little bit from the wind because we've got a viburnum right to the west of it, but they tend to want to burn and just get a little bit tired looking. Yeah, the Columbine comes all the way out here. So this is pretty straightforward. Just cut them back. I like to go about like this far up above the ground. We'll pull any weeds we come across and then we'll come through with the rake. And I think it'll look a lot better. We also need to clean up around this pot. We've got some volunteer Superbena from last year and it just looks super messy. I want to clean and clear that whole section up. Yes, we did.
Let's go! Come on, let's go! Get it! Here.
Okay, let's put.
We're making a big old pile right here, Mom. Right here is our big pile, okay?
Okay.
That we were raking today.
It looks so much better, and the kids wanted to get in on some of the clean out too, which was really nice. So starting out here, look at how much better that is without all of that scrubby growth underneath it. Oh my goodness. I tried to level up the pot a little bit too. I think it's still tipping a little bit that way, but it is heavy. So I'll probably grab Aaron and have him help me do that later. But look at this space. Just nice and tidy. The plants will have a chance still this season to grow back fresh, but it's just nice to have them be fresh and not super tired. And if they're already tired in July, boy, by October, I can't even imagine what they would look like. But we made our way all the way back to the hosta, got that cleaned up a little bit. There's Russell. Hey, buddy. There's also lamium in this area, which we cut back some and left some. Like this was okay, but we did kind of clean up around it. Cleaned up these hostas right here. They look quite a lot better. And then right in the front here, there were some little tufts of Columbine coming out. So we cut those back. And then all of the lamium that was right here looked pretty rough. So we cut that back, just kind of a rough job of it because it will rebound super quickly. Then there's the front of the hosta, which honestly, I kind of have to hold myself back from cutting back leaves like this. But if I cut back every leaf that had that, I wouldn't be left with any. So I just cut back the ones that are the most egregious. And these look pretty good right here. Love that. And right behind me in this big area, I think the pathways are gonna happen here like soon. So the one that we put in over there is good, but I think we're gonna move this one over here because we figured out that people, when they come through this opening, they want to automatically walk through the grass and walk right here. They don't come back to this one, which we put these down and we knew that the stones weren't big enough. We were just trying it out, and I'm kind of glad we did because now we know the path needs to go there, and then we will have a path go to the fireplace area. Once that's done, we'll start in with planting. I just didn't want to start planting until I knew exactly where the stones were going to land. I already move enough plants around. I didn't want to have to dig up any of these and move them based on where the pathway ended up, but I know this was probably in the background of this project, so you might be wondering why the heck I haven't planted anything in there yet this year. And you guys, that is going to do it for our projects today. So perennials in the ground, flower bed cleanup. It's a good day. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.